I meet so many people who tell me, I had that idea. I was like, well, I don't really care because it's in your sketchbook and mine's real and physical, and here it is, and we did it. And that's the difference. You have to go out and make this stuff. I've had a kind of weird journey, I guess, to get to where I am now. I'm not trained as a designer. I never went to university, college, or any of that. I left school at 16 and became a photographer for a local news agency. I got this job because I was always into photography. You know, I was really into it and had grown up with it. So I got this job at a local news agency and kind of got bored of that and thought, I don't want to do this anymore. Sound like a spoiled brat, I wasn't. But so then I got into music and I did a sound engineering course in Manchester, actually, just like down the road. And this was during the whole rave scene was starting to happen in Manchester. Computers were really starting to become affordable within music. So there was this thing called the Atari ST and people were using it to sequence music. So I was quite fascinated by that and thought, computers, making things. And I got a record deal with a record company in Liverpool, made no money, got in a few like dance charts and stuff, but zip money. So I needed to, I was getting married, I needed some money to afford a mortgage, so I ended up working at an electronics factory for 8 years just to get a job. But I think when you're doing that kind of stuff that's really dull and makes you want to kill yourself, you kind of encourages you to do other things to get out. And at the time I was learning Photoshop because my dad brought home this Mac laptop. Everything he was doing was moving digitally. And he had this 180C Mac laptop and I was like, oh my God, what is this thing? It's a Mac. I'd never seen a computer like it. And for me, it allowed you to get on with the business of making things rather than say, I'm a computer and you must learn computer things. You know, it wasn't like that. It was about just get on and make cool shit. So I thought this could be quite big.
I've known Bren for about 14 years. So when I was working for a big ad agency and this thing called the internet started to happen and nobody in ad agencies knew about it, we said, we need to find a digital agency. Are there such things? And there were about 4 in the country and Bren worked for one of them.
Lou Cordwell contacted me and said, I've started this company. And I'd met Lou at J. Walter Thompson, the ad agency. We'd done some stuff for them. And she'd left to start this new company called Magnetic North, but they needed a creative director.
And I'd heard a rumour through the grapevine that Bren wasn't very happy where he was, and he was in New York the week and that we were trying to find someone and started a search. And so I kind of rugby tackled him as he got off the plane and went, don't go there, come here, we're going to change the world.
We've grown slowly, but it's not really been about the numbers. It's about making sure that the things that we make are beautiful and well crafted and learning our craft. And we've worked with some amazing clients like BBC and Desert Island Discs was probably the biggest thing we've ever made. I think everything was kind of leading to that point where all our knowledge and learnings were evident in that site, which is just a huge undertaking. It's, people look at that and go, this is culturally important. So as a designer, you want to make stuff that actually means things, I think. Myself and Lou started a new company called Beep Industries. We make our own ideas and we execute those ideas and we sell those things rather than making things for other people. The company is me, Lou Cordwell, Kate Towie and Jeannie Hewitt, and we're just 4 people who've come together to do this thing called Beep.
Well, we started making products in MN about 2 years ago, and we did a kind of small trial product. We liked the idea that we could do it, And I've spent most of my life as a brand launching other people's products and other people's brands and sitting in other people's focus groups and generally thinking that probably we could do it at least as well, if not a bit better. And so we had a couple of ideas, and we thought, well, it would be nice if we could have a go and see a kind of proof of concept, if you like, see whether we could do it. So we launched Mixer, which is digital mixtape. And it wasn't a huge amount of expenditure. We could afford to do it ourselves, and if it went completely tits up and it didn't work, it didn't really matter. We weren't going to break the bank. So I think we did the maths on it. If we sold 300, something like that, we broke even. So we thought, right, okay, if we can do that, then we'll be okay. And within about 3 weeks, Wired magazine picked up on it. It went mental. We were selling in 50 countries, and about 2 years in, we've done about 150 grand worth of revenue on it. So after that, we decided we probably could do this, and we were quite good at it.
And so I think the correlation between all of it is the fact that I've always been interested in making things, and when you have the ability to make things from scratch of your own, that is like your dream come true.
We wanted to do something more mainstream, which is where MoviePeg came along. We launched MoviePeg about 18 months ago, and again, I think we realised that we were quite good at this, but what was becoming very apparent is that having a products business within a service business was slowly not starting to work, that one is all investment up front and risk up front, the other is about doing £100,000 worth of work for £100,000, so they're two completely different beasts. So after about a year of accountants and lawyers and people telling us that we had to separate them, we decided we would. And also, products always took second place to clients, because clients were paying the bills, and so we could only give products maybe half a day a week at best, whereas now we can more evenly split our time out of two businesses and spend our time in different ways. And you're very much in I'm doing something for Magnetic North mode when you're doing that side of the business, and then on the other side of the fence we're in a startup mentality. So it's an established business and a startup, and you kind of step between the two.
And this present you gave me was the best thing you gave me. I let it take.
The newest product from Beep Industries is a thing called Popper, which is the big red button for your iPhone camera. You basically pop it on your phone, and you've now got a lovely big red button to press instead of trying to press the on-screen button. And you've also got this lovely grip, and it's this retro looking thing, and it's all metal, and it's really beautiful. So that's where we're at with it now, but obviously it takes a lot to actually get to this end product. And like anything, it started life as a sketch, a sort of intention, really, very simple sketch, and it doesn't even look like this thing anymore, but that was enough for us to communicate the idea and to base our ideas off and actually start from here. So because I've got a 3D printer at home called a MakerBot, which allows me to print 3D objects, and 3D printing's been around since the early 80s, but now it's much more accessible and more affordable. I've got one at home, so I can just run our ideas off. I knocked up this in Google SketchUp. It wasn't any crazy 3D software, and I don't really know how to use 3D software, but I can sort of mess about with Google SketchUp and the like. So I managed to make this model, and it allowed us to make real what was in here in a physical form, and you could feel it and you could touch it, and it felt good. And then you start to look at, how big is the button going to be? We start to look at the branding on the button, that kind of stuff. So for us, every aspect of the product has to be really beautifully crafted. That's the product itself, but also the actual packaging. And how is that a user experience? What does it feel like when you get it, when you open it up? All these things we have to really consider. And this was the kind of original packaging design that we thought of, a box that pulls apart. But when we pulled this one apart, it was almost like it's too quick to reveal. And so we just had a new version made, and then when you pull this one apart, it lasts like a few microseconds longer. And then when we got that, we were like, now that's the one, because that feels totally different to doing that. And that's just like, oh, ta-da, you know, but there's not enough suspense in that one. So the whole thing is, it's more than the sum of its parts. It's not just about that, but it's about everything that is contained around it.
It's a similar ethos, I guess, to MN of making things that millions of people use, and that's the joy of what we're doing. And yeah, we're a little bit way off that on Poppy yet, but I'm sure there'll be a moment on a train where I sit there and see somebody using it and run over and go, "We did that! I'm so excited!"
Even the programmers here understand what good aesthetics are and what good composition is. You can have good composition within code, because I see code as a creative pursuit anyway. It is. We don't have techies and creatives, you know. Everyone here understands the design vision and everything is about creativity. So, but composition is a really hard thing, I believe, to get, and I think it's very hard to teach someone that. You either know it or you don't. You can become better at it, but if you can't work out composition, then you're going to have a problem.
So in this space you've got Magnetic North and you've got Beep as well. When we started Beep, we kind of looked maybe at going somewhere else as an office space, but it totally made sense to us to stay in here. We all sort of sit together at the lunch table and work together and chat through ideas, which is really, really nice.
I think it brings everybody together at lunchtime, and in general we have some meetings there, like casual meetings if we bring students in, and we have meetings with them there rather than cooping us up in a small meeting area.
It's great to see sort of Magnetic North over there doing their bits and pieces, and then we're in the corner doing our stuff, and we kind of cross over occasionally. The office they've had it for about 5 years here, and it used to be 2 apartments actually, because it's quite a big space, and then it was made into this one space. And there's the library, which is a working library, and people can borrow books, and there's a stamp. There's loads of stuff from eBay, loads of stuff from people's bedrooms, loads of stuff from Bren's weird collection of things that he has at home.
Particularly love this thing. This is a Vectrex, and this came out in 1984. And as you can see, it's very much like the first Mac, but it's got really big buttons. And the idea is that you don't actually hold this, you actually put it on the ground in front of you, like an arcade machine. So that's really cool. And these are quite rare now, and these go for quite big money on eBay, but I got it quite cheap. But yeah, and it still works, and then you've got all these cartridges. And the thing is, it's all black and white as well, so what you do, you put colour inlays over it, and I kind of like that low-fi-ness of, like, if you want it coloured, you just put a gel in front of it. It's quite cool. And I love tech like this. This is, it's really old. It's an old Super 8 camera. But the thing I really love about it is it has no power, it has no batteries, because it's actually clockwork, and it's a beautiful thing when you see it moving. So it's got some lovely design features like this pop-up viewfinder, which is really, really nice. You know, and the fact that you see it rotating as you film in, you're getting all this visual feedback. There's great affordance in this product. And you know, and when the power's run out, wind it up again. You know, it's just a great little thing. I could play with this stuff all day. Some other iPods, and this thing is like completely beautiful. It's an amazing piece of industrial design, and it just feels great in your hands. It's got massive buttons. It's a really tactile object. But the thing that all these objects share is this amazing, beautiful, subtle piece of design that is over 100 years old, and that's the humble 3.5mm audio jack. And for me, that's what great design is about. It has this longevity, and it's just subtle, it's invisible, it does its job, and maybe one day if we can make something as good as that, then I'll be happy. So this is a project that I call Cinema Redux, and this was in the MoMA exhibition Designing Elastic Mind in 2008. But I actually made this in 2004, and I think, you know, it took me, I have to be honest, it took me half an hour on a Saturday morning to make, and And it sat there for 4 years on my website and got a bit of attention. And then, like in 2007, I got an email from MoMA, and he sort of sit there at the screen looking at it and a bit amazed. And then next minute it was in this exhibition called Design Elastic Mind. They then acquired it, and it's been in another exhibition since then. And you know, I'm really proud of it. But this is actually 2001, the film, and what it does, it takes a screenshot of a frame every second and then lays those frames out. So each row represents 1 minute of film time. And what it gives you is this sort of overview of the colorways and of the editing process of a film. And 2001 looks particularly good because of the different colors that run throughout the film. And I've done Vertigo and Taxi Driver, basically loads of films that I love. So I think it just shows the importance, though, of getting your work out there.
The big light as well needed to have the ceiling strengthened to have that fitted in. It's a real mixture of stuff. It's really eclectic, and it's also really natural. There's definitely nothing positioned anywhere to look cool or edgy. It's all happened really, really naturally, and people add to the collection as they go on holiday or find things. So it's a really organic space, I would say. It's not very try hard. It's happened over time.
There's a lot of analog stuff because I think as human beings we need to, it's good when you physically touch things and they kind of talk to you, and a lot of analog stuff, they kind of invite you to interact. You know, you see a big button and you go, oh, I've got to press it, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to press it. It says do not press, I'm going to press it. So they kind of invite you to interact. And so a lot of those things out there are sort of a homage to that.
So I've been working 20 years, and we got a call 2 weeks ago from Tom Hanks's office, who'd seen Red Popper on Kickstarter and wanted one. And I'm very excited to call my mum, who's a big Tom Hanks fan. And having started 2 businesses and worked for some of the biggest ad agencies and clients in the world, she said, well, finally, after 20 years, I've got something to be proud of. So it'll be another 20 years before I have one, but I'm going to hang on to that and send a little letter to Tom with his with this red pop from my mum.
We want to make things that kind of have a timeless elegance to them, devoid of fashion, in a sense that, you know, fashion as in a transient sense, devoid of unneeded features. Because I think we live in a culture that encourages you all the time to upgrade. Look at the features on this one. It's actually, well, the features on that one were kind of, I don't really need the features on that one, but that's got new features, so therefore I'm going to have to buy it. And I think you have to take a step back and go, well, actually, more features does not equal better product. And we're kind of keen on how much can we remove from a product to actually make it even more brilliant and beautiful and more elegant. And we kind of, you want to remove as much as you can, but keep the poetry in the object, whether that's a physical thing or a digital thing. Design is egotistical. Start making something from nothing is you know, you are playing God. You know, it's so, not saying I'm like God, but you know, like, you make your own judgment there. But if people could call me God, that's fine. You know, I'm waiting to find my art teacher who failed me and tell him that I'm in MoMA now. So, haha, revenge. So, so we can cut there anyway, can't we? Yeah.